So today I'm filling in a page on my swatch book. I keep a sketchbook just for doing some color mixes, trying out different shades together. And today I'm doing a swatch of Phthalo blue red shade and Phthalo blue green shade to see how they mix, see how when they're mixed with white, what undertones are revealed, and really get to know these two colors a little bit better. So I'm going to mix them with white, like I said, as well as a few different shades of red and yellow, as well as burnt sienna, just to kind of get a feel of how they look with different colors in the color wheel. Burnt sienna is just kind of a bonus color because it can make a nice gray tone when mixed with ultramarine blue. So I'm testing it to see how it works with the two different phthalos. So I'll start with a little bit of just the straight out of the tube Phthalo blue red shade, and going to start adding a bit of white. Now the one thing with phthalos, all the phthalos, is they're very strong, so you need very little blue to get any sort of a color, for it to tint quite strongly is what I should be saying. So that's the one advantage of phthalos, is you don't need very much at all to really cover what you're doing. So it can be a bit of a money saver if you like the tints that it can mix. Okay. There we go. So that's a range of Phthalo blue red shade. Now I'll do the same, but for Phthalo blue green. So just get a little bit. There it is, full strength out of the tube. Both of these are golden acrylics. Most of what I'm using today is are golden colors, except for I have an older version of cadmium yellow that's Winsor & Newton, and a, what is this, Holbein acrylic for the cadmium red. But otherwise they're all golden colors and all artist quality, so they aren't student quality this time. Okay, so let's start tinting this down. So again, just takes a moment to mix some of the white in there. And it's really strong, so it barely takes any phthalo or any of the blue, and it really tints it strongly. And I'm not doing a perfect mix. I'm just getting close enough, so it's not, the colors aren't necessarily blended perfectly in some of those. I can add a bit more white to that one to try and, there we go. So there you go. You can definitely see that the Phthalo blue red shade leans more towards red, which is no surprise at all. And the Phthalo blue green, while it's definitely not green by any means, it leans towards the green side. Okay, so now let's move on to quin magenta. I'm just gonna add a little bit here, just so I can see what the original is. And then I'm just gonna do, I've pre-mixed a little bit already, but I'm gonna do a bit more once I get it onto the paper. So this is quin magenta mixed with Phthalo blue red shade. It makes a very dark bluey purple. Just gonna add a bit of white to that so you can see the undertones a little bit. Now, because Phthalo blue is really strongly tinted, this is not by any means equal parts of the two colors. I just kind of tried to eyeball it to be somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna add a little bit more magenta to that mix so we can see what it looks like when it leans more towards, it's still quite purple. Let me add a bit more magenta. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so you can see that's a little bit more magenta, and I'll add a bit of white so we can see that a little bit better. And there we go. So you can have a bit of an idea of a bit of the range that you can get when mixed with cream magenta. Now I'll do the same with the green shade. This is the quin magenta mixed, makes I think a really nice purple here. Add a little bit of white so we can see the undertones a little bit better. Now I will add a bit more magenta just so we can see a little bit of the spectrum that we can get out of that. Let's see. I like that color quite a lot. Add a little white. There we go, that is quin magenta. Now let's move on to the cadmium reds. So this is cadmium red mixed with phthalo blue red shade. And with some white. It's definitely a really muddied down red color. So I'd say phthalo blue is really a vibrant color. You mix it with the right other color and you can really get some nice neutrals, I would say. Now I'm going to add a little bit more cadmium red to this mix. That's really nice too. And some white to that. You can see how this red and the phthalo blue red shade would make a really nice shadow color. Okay, now let's move on to cadmium red with the phthalo blue green shade. And that's a very deep color. Let's add a bit of white so we can see what we're actually dealing with a little bit better. And that's very gray. Yeah, I quite like that. Then again, what color don't I like? Now let's add a bit more red of the cadmium red to that. And some white. A little bit more white there. Yeah, that's a nice grayed out red. Okay, now let's move on to cadmium yellow medium. This is cadmium yellow medium hue by Golden. Oh, I forgot to add a little bit of the cadmium red so we know what the original was. Got a little water there. Okay, cadmium yellow medium hue. Put that there. Now, of course, blue and yellow make green. And these two, blues and yellows, make a green that looks like that. Add a bit of white. There we go. I will add a bit more yellow just so we can see what that looks like. Try and get some water off this brush because it's getting a little watered down. Okay. It's a nice fresh green. And add a bit of white to that. Nice. Okay, cadmium yellow medium hue mixed with phthalo blue green shade. This is definitely a more vibrant green, even though it's still quite dark. I'd say it's vibrant. A lot more, I don't know, intensity. Add a little bit of white. Add a bit more of the yellow to this and see what we get. And some white. So those last two would be really nice for grass on a summer day. Okay, let's move on. Cadmium yellow. So again, yellow and blue make green, but they should be quite different. It's definitely a brighter green than the other one was. Let's add a little bit more cad lemon. Oh, of course, you have to add quite a bit because phthalo blue is so strongly tinting. Oh, I forgot to do the white mix. Okay, so this is with a bit more of the cadmium lemon in it. And I'll just add a bit of white. And I'll go back and get that other color. Okay, let's go back and get a bit of white to that original mix of cadmium lemon. A little bit more white. Okay, now let's do cadmium yellow mixed with a phthalo blue green shade. And this is how that one turns out. So the pages keep shifting just ever so slightly. And add a bit of white to that. Oops, not enough paint. Almost like a minty green. And let's add a bit more of the cad lemon to this mix. That's very bright, nice, really, really vibrant, almost acidy green. I'll lighten that up a little. That's already pretty light. Add a lot of white to that. There you go. And our last color mix is burnt sienna. Oh, I forgot to add the original color. And burnt sienna is last. Now this is phthalo blue red shade with burnt sienna and makes it a dark, dark, dark color. Now let's add a little bit of white to that so we can see what we're actually dealing with. It's a very, very blue-gray. Now we'll just add a bit more burnt sienna to it, see if we get it leaned a bit more red. Or warmer, I guess. There we go. It's nice. Make a nice dark brown there. And we'll add a bit of white to that. There we go. Nice warm gray, very warm gray, or neutralized brown. And last but not least, the phthalo blue green shade mixed with burnt sienna. This is also very dark color. I find it leans a little more green. That might be just the amount of phthalo that I had added to it. So we'll see how it goes with the adding a little bit more the burnt sienna in a minute. But here this shade is with a lot of white mixed in. And yeah, it's definitely greener there. Still gray, but a green leaning gray rather than the blue leaning gray over here. And we'll add a bit of burnt sienna to that. And see what color we end up with. Get a fairly dark color. This would all be great for different shadows of a landscape. And add a bit of white. That is nice grayed out brown. Let me just clean my brush. And there you go. That is a selection of the colors that you can mix using phthalo blue red shade and phthalo blue green shade. I often use phthalo blue red shade just out of the tube essentially, or mixed with white to do clouds in the sky. But it's great to see all the different colors that it can make mixed with some of the different primaries. And the same goes for green shade. I'll often use it for more of a deep ocean color. However, it's great to see the colors and just the difference between the two. They are quite similar, but they are quite different. Like I really, really enjoy this purple, and it's a really nice vibrant purple. Whereas over on this side, it's definitely a deeper kind of bluish purple. And this is a brighter kind of purpley pink. The magenta, I guess, really shines here, whereas here it's neutralized a little bit down. So it's just great to see. It depends how you paint, the sort of paintings that you do, and which one you would prefer.